it's a small-sized ISP in Central Europe. These are the real data. We'll see actually the new data flowing in during the presentation itself. And we will be able to, I'll be able to show you a few configuration details around and give you the insight what actually can be done and how difficult or how easy, better to say, is to manage and install Whalebone. So all the management is done via the web interface here. So with the evaluation, you are given a full access to our management. You and your colleagues, you are free to add more colleagues to the interface. And the first step usually is to install the resolvers. The resolvers here we have 2 resolvers available under this account. Should you have a question what you actually need for the resolvers to be installed, you can use either virtual or a physical machine. The requirements are really low, so we are speaking about like 2 CPU cores, 4 gigs of memory, and something like 40 gigs of hard disk space. And basically any flavor of Linux can be installed, and we are up and running. So you just prepare a plain new Linux server. You create via this button a new resolver, and let me show you these details in the documentation itself. So you create a new resolver here in the interface. You copy paste the installation command, and you just paste the installation command in the Linux server. Hit enter, and in 5 minutes you have the resolver up and running. It's connected to the central management here, and from that moment on, you just manage the resolver from the graphical user interface. So you don't have to be Linux expert to install this. And should you have any issues, we are here to help with the installation, and of course the ongoing management and support. In the resolver details, you can check anytime what's happening, if everything is running properly, if the latency, the response times, and the load on the machine is okay, if the availability is okay. So here you are free to check anytime, and should anything go in a wrong direction, you will receive an alert through an email ticketing system to a communication platform like Slack, the Microsoft Teams, or anything like that. So you are always up to date about the DNS resolvers, because we understand this is your critical infrastructure and it has to be running and available. You can manage and you can run as many resolvers as you need. So the license does not apply to the number of resolvers. This is just your decision. Okay, I want to have 2 resolvers. I want to have 5 because I have multiple localities and I want to cover all of them. It's just up to your decision how many you would like to have. Besides monitoring the resolvers, you can also apply updates, patch them from the graphical user interface. So should there be an update available, which is the case here, there is the upgrade. You can read through the release notes. You can initiate the update from here and get it updated in a few seconds from the graphical user interface. In case you would be unhappy with the update, you are able to roll back to a previous version, if there is a previous version to that particular resolver. So you can get back, and all the upgrades, all the configuration deployments that are being done from the graphical user interface are without any downtime. So it means if you decide to update to a newer version, there is no downtime for your users. You are able to do it during the day, anytime. Actually, we are doing a lot of these updates, even in the major national level telcos during the day without any maintenance windows. So it's really reliable and fast, and there is no downtime for the user. The DNS is just flowing all the time. Okay, so these are the resolvers, but let's get a bit deeper to the configuration, what we can actually set up. Every resolver can have multiple security policies. At the very beginning, there is only one. There is only the default policy set in a very, I would say, careful way. So this is the default configuration for the security policy for the blocking of the threats. It tells the resolver to block all the domains that have the threat score higher than 80. I will explain this later on, and I'll also show the scores later on. And it tells the resolver to lock all the domains that have the scores between 50 and 80, and to ignore anything below the threshold of 50. When the domain is blocked, it means when the score is above 80 and the domain is blocked, it means the user is actually redirected to the blocking page. And the blocking page tells the user what happened, what's the issue, what was the target domain. The blocking page can be rebranded by you, so you can adjust the blocking page. You can change the looks and the contact information, and we are going to release really soon a completely new feature worldwide to all of our customers, to also provide a feature of a bypass. It means your end customer can decide to bypass the blocking page and to tell, okay, I want to continue anyway. Thank you for warning me, but I want to continue to the chosen web page, which means the customer does not have to call your help desk, does not have to contact your support, and he just decides, okay, I want to go there. Thank you for warning me, but I feel adventurous and I want to continue. So this is the security policy, the main one, the main part. You can also choose, for example, the types of threats that you would like to include. For example, to block only a particular types of threats like phishing or something. But usually, most of the ISP customers, they are actually going for all threat types. So this is the easiest way to go. And below there are also multiple other options. You can include your own whitelists and your own blacklists, meaning you can allow some domains at all times, or you can block some of the domains because you believe they are malicious and they shouldn't be reachable from those networks. You can also apply regulatory restrictions for some countries if in case in your country you are obliged to block access to particular list, for example, of illegal gambling sites, etc. We can maintain the lists for you. We do it for multiple countries. So you just pick your country and apply the policy, and we maintain the list for you. It's really easy. And actually, the blocking page then displays the other information that the block that you blocked the access to the site due to the legal reasons and not due to the security reasons. It's a different base. And as mentioned, there is also the content filtering option available. So you can, this is usually not applied network-wide. This is usually applied based on particular IP addresses or IP ranges, which gets me to the main point. Each resolver can apply multiple security policies to different IP addresses and IP ranges. I have 3 different policies in here in the demo account. There is a policy exception which has the blocking disabled. So in case one of the customers asks you, hey, please don't do the blocking for me. I'm well aware what I'm doing, and I want to avoid this protection. You just use the exception policy, disable the blocking, and assign this policy to his IP address. And there is also the policy schools, which is the same in terms of protection, but also applies some special content filtering features for gambling and sexual content. But you can choose from multiple content categories, other categories, and apply different policies to different resolvers. On the resolver level, how you can manage the policy assignment, what policies apply to what networks. You just choose the network range. Let's say we have a school on the IP address 10.10.20.123, and I will choose the school's policy, edit here, and we'll be able to add this particular range. I will later on, when I find a new customer with the same requirement, another school or multiple schools, it could be something like this, that I would apply the policy also to a whole C range. And as this, I can have multiple policies, multiple IP ranges served by the same resolver by completely different rules in terms of configuration. So quite easy to maintain, I would say, and you are welcome to create as many policies as you need. Most of our customers are actually happy with like 2, 3, at most like 4 different policies. There is usually no use to maintain a huge number of different policies, but you can if you need. There is also an possibility to influence the DNS resolution itself. I mean, the DNS resolution configuration. We understand the DNS resolver can have some special purposes in the network. It can be used to redirect some of the queries to particular servers, to adjust a behavior of some domains, and to provide the best service, of course. So you are able to maintain some special rules for particular domains if you are asked by your customers, or if you need it for your purposes. So you are able to redirect some domains to particular servers. You are able to disable IPv6 processing and querying on the outside. You can define some testing static records just to for example, for monitoring purposes. And you have a complete power over the underlying resolver, as we are using the NOT resolver. So you can refer to the whole NOT resolver documentation, and you are free, either with our support or on your own, to use anything that NOT resolver supports. So we are not restricting you from some special features. It's available there. You can use them, and we completely support this approach if needed. But not to scare you, if you just install the default resolver, our default configuration is actually used by most of the customers. It's very good. It scales automatically with the server. It makes the most of what you give to the resolver, and it's really fast. So the default configuration is really good. And if you don't need anything special, you can just provide the service based on the default resolver configuration from us. And there is also the blacklist whitelist overview, so you can have as many blacklists, as many whitelists as you need, and maintain different lists and assign them to particular security policies. So, for example, to give you an example, you can have a whitelist for your operators in case they would like to allow access to some particular domains. They can just open the whitelist here, add a new line with the domain, and in a few seconds the information is distributed to the resolvers, and the domain is available. Okay, and what actually happens when we apply all those security policies and run the real traffic through the resolvers? We will see it here. I'll see it in the threats overview. So we have two main types of data that we provide back to you via front end, via API, alerts, reports, etc. And these are the threats and the DNS traffic. So the threats are the events where you actually, one of the customers of yours actually hits some domain that is listed in our threat database. The threat database is updated really frequently, so at least several times a day it's updated. Daily we have more than 100,000 changes in the database. So there are 100,000 different domains every day in the database, and all in all, in total, the database has millions of malicious domains, and a lot more actually domains with some content type. So there is the incident timeline telling us what happened in individual hours during the last 10 days in the default overview. You can go back several months actually. So if you want to see something that happened a lot earlier, you are able to do so. And here let's do some analysis. In the incident timeline, the orange color means the incident was blocked. The query was blocked. The blue means it was audited. It was just locked because it seems suspicious. And the blocked ones were actually redirected to the blocking page. Here there are the most frequent categories of the threats. As you can see, there's a lot of CNC traffic. It means command and control. So there are probably infected machines trying to communicate with the botnet servers. And the domains that are most frequently included in the threats, and the client IPs. As I have mentioned in this demo, we will only see the hashes. But in your environment, you would see your IP addresses from your network that you are familiar with. And there are the details, all the events that happened line by line with all the details and some possibilities with the also context menu. Let's get deeper. So I will filter out in the dashboard. I will filter out only the blocked events. So let's skip the locked events because we would like to only focus on those blocked ones, and let's focus, for example, on the CNC traffic. That means those infected machines that are trying to communicate with the botnet servers. Quite a load of different events. And what is quite obvious in here, there is one domain really visible with more than 16,000 incidents. A single IP address is as a source of all that malicious traffic. So it seems there is some infected computer sending about 70 requests per hour all the time, 24/7. day and night, all the time, and all the time it is blocked. Actually, it's blocked by the resolver, so the malware is not able to communicate with the server. And as you can see, it's even happening now. This is the local time in here, so it's happening now. And the domain is Gurus-Platkar.ru in Russia somewhere. The botnet is called Expiro. So okay, let's have some more information. We can ask some external sources like VirusTotal. Maybe you are familiar with this service, and we can see, okay, Fortinet and Sophos are actually listing this domain as well as malicious. Or we can have a look on Google. Just ask Google what Google thinks about the domain, and we will see there are only references to some malware analysis and automated malware services. So what it tells me, this domain is good for nothing. It's just a malicious domain. So this is definitely not a false positive. Not a false positive. We are doing a good job here and protecting the user, but the user should actually clean the machine as soon as possible. Let's see some other incidents. I have just filtered out the particular domain, so we will have a look on the rest. And there is some other IP address. Actually, it has like 666 number of incidents during the last 10 days. The difference here is that the incidents were based on different domains. It's not a single domain as in the previous case. From the single IP address, there are multiple domains leading to some CNC servers, different domains, different top-level domains, etc. And the botnet here is called Neckers, which is quite large botnet, still active. The last incident is this afternoon, so it's also quite recent, and all those incidents are blocked, and so that the malware is not able to communicate again, and you can tell the customer has some infected machines in the network. Okay, let's jump to DNS traffic, because in the threads you can see a lot of things. You can use it even for full text filtering. So if a customer asks you, is there something wrong with my connection, you can just enter his IP address and see whether he has an infection in the network, whether he has some issues. But for deeper analysis, if you would like to understand what's happening in the network, you can also use the DNS traffic. It actually logs all the DNS traffic that flows through your resolvers and puts it in one place. So you have all the information here. You can filter it. You can go through it. Again, by default, we can see 10 days, but we can go deeper in the past if needed. And you can see every individual request and the response, the answer that was provided by the resolver, and you can filter the data based on all those information. So, okay, let's, for example, enter google.com. So we would like to see what was happening in the network with the domain google.com, and we have it filtered in a second. And we can see that the IP address is communicating with the google.com. We can see the most frequent queries and the answers, and we can go deeper and deeper based on what we are looking for. I may want to, for example, filter the traffic also based on the answer or the client IP. So I can just combine the logical combination with and say google.com and the IP address, and I have it filtered, and I can see, okay, this IP address is actually asked for the domain, and they get the answer. this is usually used for troubleshooting purposes. If the customer has some sort of issue, you can have a deeper look. If there are some suspicious answers, wrong answers, some failures, errors, so in a few seconds you can get a really good overview of what's happening in the network. Besides that, you are able to guess for example, by the query type MX, which is used by the mail servers. You are able to look in the network for spammers. So let's filter out one of the IP addresses sending a lot of MX requests. And I'm almost sure this is a spammer. As you can see, there is a almost constant flow of MX requests, and a lot of those requests actually end up with the answer NX domain or serve fail. It means those domains do not exist, and the software is probably trying something at random or based on some obsolete lists, and it's trying to spam the internet. Okay, so I can point to this computer and to this IP and tell this is suspicious. Another point which you can get from the DNS traffic is to look for infected computer based on their behavior. Based on the types of domains that they are resolving. And let me filter out the something that was marked by our neural network, by our machine learning algorithms as suspicious, because the domains are looking like they were generated by some computer and not typed by a human. So I will pick the most active IP address with 18,000 requests here, and you can see loads of different really awkward suspicious domains, and the sequence is continuous. So I can tell, okay, this computer, this network is infected and should be cleaned up. Okay, let's get a bit forward. I believe I forgot a few details that are interesting for you while operating Whalebone. So if you encounter something that you would like to report to us, like you think, hey guys from Whalebone, I think actually that the domain Grußplattler is not a threat. So you can report false positive to us. It gets instantly to our support. Our support will have a look at it and will get back to you with some result. We can either remove it from the database, or we can suggest to you that we will put it on your whitelist because we consider it malicious, or we will just send a lot of information to you like, hey, this is really a threat, this is really a wrong domain, don't allow it, it's not a good idea. So if you feel like this domain seems like okay, you can report it back to us and we will jump on it. Or you can just have a look on your own for a second. You can use our domain analysis. You can see how many threats are there in your database, how much different unique occasions happened in the DNS traffic, and what we know about the particular threat, that it's a CNC, the score is 100, and we have first seen it last year in November. So from last year, it's present in the database. You can put other domains in here to analyze, and the important part here, it's a content categorization. This domain does not fall in no content category. It's quite understandable, I think. But for example, if I put youtube.com, I will get information that there are no detected threats. It's not a threat. It's not something that we would like to block. but it's a content category, audio and video. So it's will be, if you decide to block that category, it will get blocked. Similar, Facebook.com, it's a social network for sure, and you can verify other domains via this interface as well. So you can understand what will happen if you activate the content filtering. All right. Configuration, we have been here. For short reference, there is the possibility to customize the sinkhole. The sinkhole is the blocking page. We call it the sinkhole, but the new feature that is coming will give you the full power over the blocking pages. So you will have the ability to create multiple blocking pages for different customers, multiple localizations on whatever you need, and full control of the content. So you can present any HTML, any script on the blocking page, any branding, any graphics. So it will be only up to you what you will present to the customers. At the moment, we populate the blocking page with this information, but in a few weeks, you will have complete control over a blocking page. There are also alerts, which is a quite important feature. The alert will give you a complete power of what's happening if the resolver has an issue. There is, for example, the alert the resolution service failure. You get a message instantly. Hey, there's a problem. Look at it. Something is happening. It could be an issue with the network. There could be also an issue with the hardware, so you should take care of that. The hardware resources, you can have a different thresholds for when you want to receive an alert for the CPU, memory, and disk space, but also alert for a new botnet in the networks, for newly blocked domains in your network, for example, for the domains from your country. Could be quite interesting to be aware of new suspicious domains locally. And these alerts, you can adjust, disable, enable, add new ones anytime you would like to have more. There are also reports available, and we strongly encourage our customers to use them. You can have them weekly, monthly, basically basically daily. Weekly is the recommended frequency to get an automated analysis of all the traffic that happened in your network. So all the things that I have shown you here, you can get automatically via the report, and you don't have to click there and back all the time. You just get the report and look, okay, my network is safe and okay, everything is running properly, I don't have to care about that. Or I have loads of issues in the network, maybe I should have a look at it and maybe inform the customers, or just let them know that there is something wrong going on. There is also the API available. It's a very strong tool used by more and more customers. It needs a technical skill on your side, of course, but you can get loads of things done via the API. You can integrate your systems with the data from Whalebone, so you can automatically populate the information to your colleagues, to the CRMs of yours, or you can even populate the information to your customers and report them information about what's happening in the network. And we have additional APIs for the configuration and for automatic configuration of, for example, different customers, to provide an automated security service if in case you would like to create a new new revenue stream based on Whalebone. Okay. For the content filtering, I didn't really touch it very deeply, but there is in the security policies, there are some things quite interesting. Besides the adult content and entertainment, there is also something we call unwanted content, which is crypto mining, but also advertisement and tracking. And this is usually something that the customers don't really appreciate. And it's interesting to see how happy are the customers when browsing without the advertisement. Of course, you should not do it without their consent, but I encourage you to try it out and to see how the websites actually look without the advertisement. It's much more faster, smoother, and the user experience is just better. For example, the CNN and BBC websites could be an interesting example how they look without the advertisement. So the CNN, the BBC, it's just the content. It's just the thing that you are interested in, and not the banners, not the pop-ups, and not the trackers that are just spying on the users. So it's faster and more convenient for the users. It can be an interesting feature either for your customers or at least for you in the office. So you can limit the content filtering policy to your office and just make your life a bit smoother. We actually use it. We also use it on our mobile phones, and it's much better experience. Okay. I mean, this is all from the really fast demo. What we were able to stick in. Are there any questions? Setting up unique policies per IP. Does this work when we use DHCP? Yeah, this is of course this is a bit tricky with the DHCP. We have also approaches to cover DHCP use cases. So in that, when using DHCP, the policy can be eventually tied to a particular MAC address, or to particular MAC address, and we can integrate with the DHCP server. So we will be aware where the particular device, what IP was assigned to the particular device, and we can apply the policy afterwards. So we can be integrated with the DHCP server. It's a step on top of the policy assignment, but it can be done, and we have the integrations with DHCP and the Radius servers available. Technically, this is possible. It means we have to consume the logs from the DHCP. There's a question if we can say that the DNS here is also acting as a firewall. We are able to check the outgoing traffic, the domain-based outgoing traffic. So yes, in some terms, we can tell that we are able to firewall the traffic based on if they are malicious or not, or also based on the content. But we don't act as a full firewall product. This has to be said. So we are able to apply policies based on the domain names, but we are not a full firewall product or solution, and we don't aim to replace a firewall. But in terms of security and in terms of content filtering, it's very important that we are really fast and we can handle a huge network traffic with low hardware requirements, which is a huge advantage against the usual firewalls and DPI solutions. And okay, there are more questions. If DNS can provide DDoS attacks, There are some special DDoS attacks based on DNS, on outgoing DNS. We are able to detect them. We are actually reporting and alerting them. So if those DDoS attacks happen from your network to the outside world, this can be handled, but it's not the full scope of any DDoS attacks, and it does not protect you from the incoming DDoS attacks. But and that's an interesting information. We have been told by some of the customers that when they had a cleaner network with less malware, they actually were less targeted by the incoming DDoS attacks, which is an interesting positive effect on the network. And we think that the reason is that there are less motivated attackers to attack the network when there are not that many targets for them. So that could be the explanation. What is the minimum hardware? Cool question. The minimum what we have in the documentation is 2 CPU cores, 4 gigs of RAM, of memory, and something like 40 gigs of hard disk space. This minimum sizing usually is enough for networks with like 10,000 customers or so. It depends. It differs from country to country on the bandwidth or on the volume of traffic. But this is the minimum, and it can be easily scaled by just adding more CPU cores. So the more CPU cores or the more DNS resolvers you provide to the network, the faster it will be handled, and the more traffic you can handle. And so we are not really much slower than the regular DNS resolvers. We need a bit more CPU. We support virtual environments. So basically any virtual environment that you would like to have that you use. So you just install a new Linux server, CentOS, Red Hat, Debian, Ubuntu, whatever you like, and then you copy paste the installation command, and you are up and running. Thank you for your time, and I hope we'll be installing the resolvers in your environment soon. So just shoot a message at us, and we'll be ready to help you.